BJ Novak explores a crazy new philosophy in vengeance, actually respecting those who have different beliefs than you.
Their breadsticks are like crack.
I love when people say like crack who've obviously never done crack.
Well, the breadsticks are like what then? Ryan, what can I use?
I don't know, something from your world. The breadsticks are like scrapbooking.
You're right. No, I'm a middle-class fraud.
In an age when Hollywood seems to disdain half the country, many of us are thirsty for a little respect.
Respect.
Look, I'm not waiting for studio heads to vote Republican and say y'all. I'm just asking them to not crap on everyone who dares have a different opinion than them. With TV series like She-Hulk actively mocking and belittling fans of the comic, it seems like Hollywood has made it their business to use anger to promote buzz about their shows and movies. They purposely rile up their fans and then call them toxic when they have the gall to suggest that their products aren't all that good. You know who else applied this tactic? Hitler. That's probably not accurate. As a result, many of us are desperate for a breath of fresh air. A movie that doesn't just throw slop at us and demand we eat, calling us racist if we don't enjoy their gruel. And every once in a while, something pops up which transports us to the chill, still air of a lush green forest in early spring. Which is a long way to say, it gives us a breath of fresh air. Vengeance is one of these films. It provides us with air fresher than Febreze sprayed in a freezer. It has all the opportunities in the world to punch down and mock those who live in rural Texas, to paint them as a bunch of violent morons who just like drinking beer, chewing tobacco, and oppressing colored people of color. So much more PC. Spoilers ahead. Instead, it shows that people are people. The Texans, while living a different life than those in New York, still have hopes and dreams, loves and hates. Their culture is far different than the swanky parties Ben is used to, but it's still valid and respectable. At the same time, Novak includes self-deprecating humor. He isn't the perfect New Yorker, come to straighten out the hillbillies in a podunk town. After the funeral, he does stick around specifically to mock Abby's brother and friend and document their ridiculous conspiracy surrounding her death. But we constantly see him being ignorant of Texas history and culture, making him the one who gets mocked. Which isn't all that hard because New Yorkers are shallower than the Rio Grande in September. Or something. I don't actually know. I live in Austin, so I'm practically a New Yorker myself. Like many good and bad films, this one states the theme early on. For those who aren't well versed in film lingo, the theme can also be considered the major lesson or the question of the story. Ben's future podcast producer Eloise tells him Americans listen to stories because Americans are people, they're not ideas. You are here, and you need to be here. As themes do, this keeps coming back in some form or another throughout the story. Like that kid in middle school who just wanted to keep talking to you about Yu-Gi-Oh! Because you were nice to him once. Yeah, I was the Yu-Gi-Oh! Kid. The movie continuously emphasizes the value of listening. Ben needs to listen to his subjects more as he records, as well as listen to who they are as people. It's not as simple as hearing with his ears, but actively trying to understand them. And this is one of the key inflection points of the film, the scene with Ashton Kutcher, who, I gotta say, probably gives the best performance of his career here. He is empathetic and wise, but there's also just something a little off about it. He throws out many tidbits of wisdom to Ben, like this one.
The problem isn't that people aren't smart, the problem is that they are. If the landscape was like this, and people were just boring, you wouldn't have this problem. The problem is you get all these bright, creative lights, and nowhere to plug in their energy.
And while they may be not so subtle, they're delivered in such a way that I was fascinated and enraptured by his cult of personality. Just like Donald. Duck. I would follow that duck into the pits of hell for battle. My take is that Quentin's major point is that people are people. Just because someone lives in rural America, doesn't make them stupid. They can be smart, but they don't have access to the same things, so they channel their energy poorly. And this is a huge problem in rural America today. Why do I keep writing rural into this script? We often joke that those who live in the boonies do meth. Hell, the town near where I grew up was called Meth Desto for a reason. Our culture has fallen into this trap of too much brains, too much time, and not enough guidance or meaning. So quite often people turn to drugs. That or the government releases the drugs into our community. Either or. And this is partially why the end of the movie kind of upsets me. It undermines Quentin's philosophical contributions to the story. He's the voice of so much positivity, but then also ends up being the problem all along. Plus the fact that he was the bad guy was a little bit too obvious for my taste. I also really enjoyed the motif of head versus heart. Of course there's Eloise's advice to Ben, but there's also the parking lot scene where Ty says he follows his heart and Ben tells him to follow his brain for a change. And to top it off, the rodeo scene they reference deep in the heart of Texas. And if that's not a reference to Texas being the heart of the country, then it's just a song. But I think they're saying that Texas is the heart. The message here is that Texas, or other states like it, are the heart of America. New York and the like might be the brain, but the brain can't survive without the heart, and vice versa. In other words, New York needs Texas, and Texas needs New York. Like we need a hole in the head! Yeehaw!
Shoot on the ye, not the haw.
Wait, no. Sorry. The whole point here is that if we're a little bit more empathetic, we realize we're more similar than we are different. And one other point the movie may or may not have meant to make is that we shouldn't discount conspiracy theories so fast. This is a hot take. Yes, a conspiracy theory most likely isn't completely true, but if you ignore them outright, you might overlook the truth hidden within. If you dig below the insanity of conspiracy theories like the CIA killed Kennedy, you learn there are kernels of truth in there, like the CIA probably helped kill Kennedy. What am I saying? There's no truth there. But this film's most important point is that we aren't as divided as we may think. Sure, some of us want universal healthcare and some of us want a free market system, but in the end, those both stem from the same place. People want themselves and their loved ones to be safe and healthy. They're just two different ways of going about it. Is one right and one wrong? Maybe, but you're never going to learn the truth if you don't listen to the other side and talk with them. Listen. That's the point. Listen and you might learn something. Or you might not. But if you respect other people and their opinions, I guarantee you'll be happier in the end. And we might just heal a divided America.
Heal, heal, heal!
Thank you so much for watching and subscribing. Please chat with me down in the comments and check out this video about the anarchist themes in The Last of Us TV show.